Hot Wheels Unleashed. So, Hot Wheels Unleashed is the prototypical game that I have been asking for, that I think this generation of Xbox Game Pass needs. Not that they don't have others like it, but just this is the type of game that to me fills up an arcade that is quintessential to what you need to, to fill up a library. And I say that because Hot Wheels Unleashed is an arcade racer. And as you can see, it's, as you'll see in the gameplay, as you can see here in these cars, they took some time to combine some fake cars that you would see from cartoons, some realistic cars that you have, like that's a Camaro. They have some comic book vehicles from video games, like this. You got the Batmobile. Now these are obviously doorless vehicles. They're not real. You're not going to see a person getting in and out. You're not driving around an open world. That's not what this is about. This is a high fun factor, simple racing game. But it has some things that are going to keep you wanting to come back. Number one is a good selection of vehicles. As you can see here, some of these are from downloadable content, but the DLC is, a lot of it is free when you get it on Game Pass. So there's that. This game is about 30 gigs. So I downloaded it. I don't play via cloud, but that's because I had made a commitment before, and those are all the potential unlockables, by the way, that are still out there. But I don't play on cloud. I download it. There's the modern Bond car, the Aston Martin, looking pretty good. I like how they have the windows down on it too. It's pretty cool. Um, some more is a Hot Wheels car. Very cool stuff. There's a classic BMW there. Awesome. There's the old Bond vehicle, the old Aston Martin. So what's going to keep you coming back is you can design your own tracks in this game. So people can design tracks. You can see tracks can be all over the place. You could design your own track and then put it up for people to download. So that addition is similar to like Far Cry 5, how people can design their own map and then you can go in and play it. It's the same thing here. So you have unlimited track potential because you can make up your own. That's pretty awesome. Um, because you could do that, and there's maps there's tons of tracks that are already pre-made and part of like unlockable progression. There's just a lot to keep doing to unlock. Then you have different types of game modes. So in this is like a typical race here. There's quick mode, which is where you could do offline races that are not part of story, not online. You can do time trials where you just try to beat the clock. Then they have obviously you can play other people's tracks. You can make up your own track. You could do multiplayer where you're playing online against other people. You could also go in and do the progression. I've been working on the progression part, which is basically just like a big map, and you just as you either complete the time trial or complete the race and get up within the top. I think it's on the podium. So podium is 3 spots. If you make it to the top three, you'll actually get to unlock the next step. But this is not Gran Turismo. This is not Forza for your Xbox heads. This is supposed to be an arcade, high fun factor type game. This is not supposed to be ultra realistic. Although I will say, like the drifting in this game is pretty good. You do have to you tap the brake. You can oversteer and easily spin out, which is interesting for an arcade racer. But if you hit those strips like I just hit there, you get to accelerate. I find that a lot of times you're baited into wanting to go as fast as possible, which you do on the straightaways, obviously. But when you if you hit a hard turn, it's easy to overdo it and hit the wall. It's also easy to come around the bend go off of a jump, and if you just tap that joystick too much coming off a jump, you see how I went off this to the side there? It's very easy to overdo it. See there, again, off to the side, went off the track. It's very easy. You really have to you have to contain, and that was just bad driving there on my part. You really have to contain your your itch to try to hit everything 1,000 miles an hour because it's an arcade game. Because you will overdo it, you will miss some track, and you'll go off the track. And in some races, you could recover. Like in this race, I do recover, and first of all, I'm still in the top 5, top 3, so I can still make my move and have plenty of time because it's not the last lap. And some of these laps are long. Like sometimes you'll play you'll play a map where the track is kind of short, and if you're in the second lap and you're behind, you're gonna lose. In this case, I knew I had plenty of time. You could see here, I catch up to first place very quickly. There are other times when you're down and out. Like I've had races before where I just wasn't good at the track because of the design. There were a couple of spots that kept throwing me off, and because of that, I'd fall all the way back to last place, and I just couldn't catch up. I just didn't have enough time to catch up. So it really depends on the track, depends on your skill set, but overall, if you just can control yourself, contain yourself on some of these jumps, hit it when you can, catch air when you can, but be smart. It's not an overly difficult game. It's not supposed to be about crazy challenge. It's supposed to be about high fun factor. That's what makes this cool. If you have Game Pass, this is a must, in my opinion. It's a must. Because these are the types of games that really fill up a library. And if you watch this channel, you'll know that I'm big on fun factor. I use that term a lot. And the reason I do that is because, modern gaming, there is an obsession with, how do I put it? There's an obsession with realism. There's an obsession with, like, the power of graphics and, having a million features. And I think that's cool. But for me, it's always going to come down to the same thing. It's going to come down to fun factor. That is the most important thing, is fun factor. Can I replay a game, smile, and enjoy it? When I play a game, is it just silly? Is the gameplay making me smile, right? I don't need everything to be ultra sim, ultra realistic. I'm not saying I want to shoot people when I play my football game to be able to score a touchdown. I'm not saying that. I don't want that level of silliness. But what I do like is the ability to play a game and to just enjoy the progress, enjoy the turns and all that. You can see that was a map. This is where you obviously select your car before you go in. This is like the main story mode or progression mode. Now again, this is a time trial here. So you have to hit within the time to be able to advance. They'll give you a regular time to beat, and then there's like an ultra time to beat. The ultra time, I think, unlocks even more stuff. The map is pretty extensive, so it looks like there's a lot of stuff in there. But I will say that, it might get a little repetitive just doing races over and over again. But you'll find that as you play these different tracks, they do a good job. Some things you'll see over and over, like those wind turbines on the curves, those get used a lot. Now, if people make up their own tracks, they might not use those at all. But in this, in the story mode, those are used a lot. But when you play this game, I will say I thought it would get repetitive, and maybe it will in the long run. But in the short term, I find that these tracks are divergent enough that I don't get bored. Like, this was something new that I didn't see in the other maps that I was playing. And one thing I'll also say is, you see how we're driving here and how they put cones down, but you're not really on an official track? Boy, oh boy, that actually gets interesting. I found I stumble a lot on those because when I first try to hit that track as fast as I can, I'll easily start to miss the cones. I'll easily start to be off the, off the road. And you have to sometimes look at the little tack map there and start, checking on that when you're like completely off of this kind of track. because it's very easy to drift away, especially when there's turns. When it's a straightaway, it's not a big deal. But when there's a lot of turns, like you'll get this map, you're going really fast. You see right there, I saw cones in front of me, but those were the cones from the other side. And it's very easy to miss. Now, some people might think that's silly, but I'm telling you, when you're going fast, especially when you're in the middle of a race, not just a time trial, it's very, very easy to miss these things. You see, then they got the Looney Tunes explosions, but this is the Looney Tune universe. And in the time trial, see there, I missed. I didn't even know that I missed the checkpoint, and it made me go back. It made me respawn. It's gonna force me to respawn anyway. So the Looney Tunes, one of the things they add in are those like little explosions there. So if you get hit by those, it'll just disable your car, and then you'll take a second, it'll reboot. But again, if you're in a race, everybody's going fast, that could cost you. I don't remember. I think in this I might have actually missed the time trial because I screwed up on the checkpoints too much. But you see here, see how like you're going really fast. It's easy to go off the track. But again, high fun factor. This game is the type of game that if you were going to an arcade like a Dave and Buster's or an indie arcade, this is the type of racing game you might expect to find while you're like you're roaming around in there. Nothing crazy, like sort of like a Cruising USA type feel when you're driving around as far as like the actual steering. Although you're playing on a controller, but again, it's easy to oversteer. So high fun factor, definitely recommend it. You can't go wrong in this thing. So we go back. You see me in here in the map again. I think I'm gonna find a race to do here. Get a feel for like the size of this thing. It's pretty cool, and the map just gives you some indication of like the terrain, but a lot to unlock. I definitely, I think, I keep thinking, when am I gonna get bored of the races? I don't think I will. As long as the maps are different, and again, you can always go off of this and just do created maps. Yeah, it's very cool. So then this map, you see how everybody's bunched up. You can and the other thing is you get like a booster that recharges. So everybody has that like NOS turbo boost thing, but you gotta be smart when you use it, because I messed up a couple times in this race where I see there I went off the track and then completely off the road. It's easy to want to accelerate, but it's also easy to miss things. You see us bumping there. And there are times when when the AI seems like easy to beat, but then there are other times when like they literally make moves. Like, see that guy there? He like literally turned and leapt over me. Like, that was a pretty gangster move by that guy. So like there's times when the computer makes me laugh because they'll do cool things. Now here, one thing I noticed also, which is smart, and if you're doing this map for the first time and it's simply one lap, if you're a little unsure, let the guy in first place go first. Like, just stay behind him and then make your move. Like, you don't need to rush ahead. Like, let him make the turns first, and then you'll get a vibe for like when to go. There, I didn't want to like respawn. By the way, so you could always hit that respawn button when you're like off the map or something bad happens. For Xbox, it's Y, and I'm assuming on PlayStation it'll probably be the triangle button. In staying consistent with button layout. So, but you don't need to use it if you can immediately turn back. So then you don't have to have that like little, second and a half delay that you get from a respawn. Some of you might be watching this video and who've watched my channel before. You might notice I've been haven't been posting as much recently. Had some personal loss in the family, so I had to deal with that and some work stuff, and just haven't been able to be on here as much. I don't do this professionally. I do this for fun. So I kind of got a little off schedule there, but I put up a lot of content. over the course of the last like couple of months. So I figured if you're getting into the channel, there's a lot there. I also really would appreciate if folks who maybe came in during my like wrestling videos, if you guys go back, take a look at some of the earlier content that I made. I think there's some stuff on there that, especially for Game Pass, that's very relevant. Whether it's like looking at games like Battlefield or UFC and whatnot. There's a couple of games I did some content on that I think I still don't think people are really like taking advantage of as far as playing Battlefield, like um, Bad Company and Battlefield 3, playing that online over the Game Pass. I don't think enough people are taking advantage of that because I don't hear about it as much. Even stuff like playing Perfect Dark. Bond is on there now. GoldenEye is on there, which is awesome. But I don't see people taking advantage of like Perfect Dark, which is a banger. Then there's also like the UFC fighting game. Like in terms of fighting games, I never hear people mention that. I did a video on some fun modes that that game has, and I feel like that's like totally overlooked. If you like Street Fighter, if you like Mortal Kombat, you're gonna love that game. And there's a way to play it where you don't have to worry about grappling. You can just do the kicking and the punching, and trust me, if you just like combat games, you're gonna love it. So it's definitely some stuff that I think needs to be looked at. From my earlier videos that I didn't want to just like repost. I think people should just go ahead and take a look. Although I'm tempted to repost it now, since my subscriber numbers have grown a little bit over the past couple of months. But anyway, just a side note there. So you can see, like here, I've obviously gotten a little bit used to this part of the map on the on the third one, so I'm being a little bit more aggressive going through here. But it's very easy to go off the rails. So once I got used to it, then I could really hit it. Here now I can smell the finish line here. Kind of know here. Got through that boulder. Boom! There's your big jump. Very nice. Yeah, I'm in a groove here. On the ice. In real life, if you tried to do that with your 3 Series coupe, you would be spinning out like crazy. Way too much ice there. Well, I got an all-wheel drive on my two-door, but I still wouldn't hit the ice like that. So yeah, and I think the car variety in this game's pretty good too. I don't think you'll be like missing. See right there, I hit the turbo. That second boulder ball would have definitely knocked me off. And that's the other thing too, because it's not Mario Kart, but it's got some Mario Kart elements to it, like boulder balls and Looney Tune explosions and like ice and things like that. You're not going to shoot mushrooms at each other, but it's not supposed to be Forza. It's not supposed to be Gran Turismo. So you have like a combination of like a little bit of realistic driving, but mainly arcade to go along with some arcade silliness, some like Mario Kart element type stuff, which I think is very cool. And I think this game, as an alternative, especially if you're playing on Xbox, and you don't have a Nintendo. If you're looking for like kind of a silly racing game but still fun, I think this game has got it going on. And for something that's on Game Pass, like this is a can't miss. So I 100% recommend this Hot Wheels Unleashed. Not a huge download. It's not going to take up too much space, but at the same time, like I like having it on my system. You got unlockables. The map is big. You can create your own tracks. This is a slam dunk. This is an easy one. So I highly recommend this game. I would say go ahead, go play it on Game Pass, test it out, do cloud game if you're not sure, but I think it's worth a download very easily. I think you'll find cars in there you like. You'll enjoy making the tracks. You'll enjoy playing on the tracks, and that's it. So as always, I recommend this game. Go ahead, jump in, and if you'd like to, go ahead and take a look at some of my other content. I'd appreciate it. I'd love to hear some feedback on that. You'll find the theme in my channel is, we're always looking to have fun here in the Corner Arcade. All right, thanks everybody. Appreciate you.